Good evening and welcome to the Mancunian Way. Hope you are all good. And tonight is going to be a massive, massive panel. Good evening, Steve. How are you, mate?
Super, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it.
No, good. And somewhere down there, he's now in London. He's flown over from Australia for this one.
No, I'm not, mate. I made the trip up. I made the trip up north. I'm in God's country now.
Oh, well, you flew from Australia to London and went from London up to Manchester.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still from Australia.
Yeah, I know. You'll have to excuse me. There might be some rogue analysis from me because, like, I've had the best part of only about maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep in the last 2 days. So, yeah, but that's what we do when we're mad. When we're mad and we're blue, don't we? We watch City. All through the jet lag and everything. And Matt, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Spencer, Alan, and Simon Hill will be on at 9 o'clock. They're just with obviously time differences from when they're getting up. So, another quiet day, Manchester City land. Do we ever get a quiet day? Do we ever just get a day when there's no news at all and we can just all put our phones away? It's mad. Like you said, Steve, how many shows and times have you been on today?
Oh, God. I can't even remember. I'm just one of them days today. But it is what it is, you know. Everyone's excited. It's Champions League draw. You know, many moons ago, we used to sit back and in work or whatever and listen to the odd mob over the road getting excited about these draws, and we were feeling a little bit envious and that, you know. But waiting for the Papa John Trophy and the auto windscreens and all that stuff to come out. But no, listen, it's great, isn't it? It's been a good buzz around the place after the Leipzig game. I think everyone's a bit excited. We've just booked our trip to Munich, me and Daps and a few of the boys that we all go together. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy few months now. It's the business end of the season and it's the expensive end of the season as well for Manchester City fans now.
Yeah, I do promise if it's Madrid, if we get through and get Madrid, I'm on it.
Get on it with us. You're more than welcome. We've got a good little crew that go and we look after each other and we book some decent hotels and that. And yeah, what I'm finding now with the Man City away support in Europe, we're getting a good little crew together of the same old faces. There's a lot of young lads and a lot of young girls going and we're all meeting in the same places, and social media is allowing us to sort of get everyone together, and it's getting a bit like a continental feel. We got a few Dutch boys coming over and we had a bit of a walk to the stadium at Leipzig, which was good, you know, everyone together and that. So I think this time next year, the away days in Europe will be something special for the City fans.
Yeah. Yes, Steve is on the Big Six, so he's not staying for all of it. He is on the Big Six in a moment. Yes, I will, Charlie. I'll save your comment for when I'll just star it now, just so I know. Right, Pat, obviously you've heard about the Champions League draw. Let's start with that because I think this is the before we get onto the homecoming tomorrow. What are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts for it have been positive. If I was going to put an order in terms of least favoured to most favoured, I'd probably put Bayern just above, sort of like mid place. They are a team that we can play well against. You get a feeling with Bayern Munich under Julian Nagelsmann, because a lot of his philosophy of football he adopted from Pep, and you get this feeling that maybe under a Nagelsmann there could easily be a possibility of one of the games or even both games. Nagelsmann maybe playing a bit of an Arteta for Arsenal in a way where it's like, you know, master and apprentice. So you wonder, you just wonder what this game's going to bring. But the opposition, I mean, it's from an opposition standpoint, it's going to be a fantastic 2 legs. I'm glad we dodged Chelsea, Madrid, and Napoli in this stage of the competition. But also, too, I am really excited for this quarterfinal and this potential semi-final too, because if you look at the other side of the draw where the Italian teams are mostly playing, it kind of reminds me a little bit of what Liverpool went through for last season Champions League, where they played not the strongest opposition leading up to the final, but then they had to come against quality opposition, Real Madrid, and then of course by the end of the season they were burnt out, and you know Real Madrid obviously won the final. So I feel like for this, we have to play the big dogs in Europe to get to the final, and it basically means that the opposition you look at, if we have to play against a team in a final, I feel more comfortable playing against them in 90 minutes than I would maybe over, say, 2 legs. And I think also, too, I think the biggest challenge, and I personally think that probably one of the favourites, and people might rule them out because they haven't won the trophy yet, is Napoli. But I would feel a lot more comfortable playing them in 90 minutes than I would, say, playing them over 180 minutes. So I'm happy with it. I'm confident with it. And as we've alluded to, and I think Steve said on numerous shows too, so if you want to win this trophy, you've got to beat the big dogs, and we might as well just do it early.
Yeah. Steve, are you happy with the draw, or are you rather be on the other side of it?
To be honest, I was on Man City's live stream this morning, and I fancied Madrid, and I'm not scared of Madrid. I'm not scared of Madrid. I'm not scared of anybody. I think a lot of them teams are scared of us. I watched the Napoli stream before, and they were begging that Man City got somebody else when they came out, and I've seen a Bayern stream where they all sank in the seats when they got Man City. So to be honest, I think City fans, we do put a little bit of pressure on ourselves, and sometimes we don't realise how good we are. But we're one of the favourites for a reason. And you look at the draw now. There's a couple of big nights coming up. Big nights there's a big night at the Etihad coming up. There's a big night in Madrid. We've got to get behind the boys at the Etihad. We've got to get behind them in Madrid in Munich. And if we can beat Bayern Munich and then go on and beat Real Madrid, we've done it the tough way. And like you say, we're going into that final on the back of 2 tough games. But I don't want to jump the gun a little bit and talk about that. But I think Bayern Munich, what we've got to do is make sure we go to Germany with something. We didn't finish Real Madrid off last year. We battered them at the Etihad, but we left the door open. And listen, we got burnt. At the end of it, we got burnt because we didn't finish them off. They were on the knees at the Etihad waiting for it. And I'm hoping with Haaland now, he is the killer up front who, if we do smell a bit of blood at the Etihad, we can maybe turn that screw and smash a couple late on and go to Munich with a bit of a lead.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I've been thinking about this all day. And I've seen, obviously, City-itis is never going to die. Even with the young crowd, it's starting to take hold. Now, for me, we're 23, 24 games unbeaten at home in Europe. We've beaten PSG, blown them off the park. We've played Real Madrid, blew them out the water. I don't have any fear against Bayern Munich at home.
No.
The last few home games in Europe at home have been electric. I think you talked about it earlier on City Extra about Anfield, and it was City Extra or so the actual City channel about Anfield and Bayern Munich, and you talk about all these big nights. And I'm starting, the Etihad start, because I thought again on Tuesday night against Leipzig, the atmosphere was outstanding.
Yeah, it was.
And that's what it's got to be when we play Bayern Munich. We've got to intimidate them straight out the chute. Don't want, like you said, don't want Pep going, coming out in the press 2 days earlier trying to G everyone up. We should already be G'd up for that.
Yeah, there's no excuse for it. What you do get on a Champions League night, you do get a lot of tourist fans that come. They sort of people who haven't took the cup scheme up in the South Stand for whatever reason. That the tourist fans will grab that. And don't get me wrong, there was tourists near me, and they were getting fully involved in it and they were having it. But there's a lot of them that want to be in the South Stand, but they don't want to do anything. They just want to experience the atmosphere. So they want to let everybody else do the singing. Now, it doesn't help, and they're entitled to do what they want. They've paid for the ticket. But what I'm saying is we all need to be pulling together. That Leipzig game the other night, we did get behind the boys, and it works. And I think, people can slag Man City off all they want because we know what we're about, and we know that our fans are good. And we just hope the club do something. I hope the 1894 group do something. And I hope that they give them whatever they need to go and do it, because this is the business end now. We need as much help as we can. We go to these grounds in Europe and these great displays, and the Bernabeu last year when Madrid came back, there was something creepy about that music that came on and the way the crowd...
one that Daps is like hates now forever.
Yeah, because it traumatized us both, because we were literally I always say it, with 1 minute to go, we was thinking about croissants under the Eiffel Tower. And 2 minutes later, I was thinking a weekend in Blackpool with the kids because we were out, and that's how quick shit changed. So, you know, it traumatized us both. So, yeah, there's something about Anfield. We've experienced that on a European night where if you let it get to you, you're finished. There's something about the burnabout. And there's something about this Etihad now that's starting to, you know, to get magical. So, you know, we've got to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, go on, Pat.
Sorry, Steve. I was just going to say to Steve, it's a shame that, you know, because we have cut-off times, you know, obviously when we have to apply for tickets with supporter groups, especially in our part of the world. It's a shame that we can't get more from our supporter group who are able to get tickets or seating in the South Stand, because I tell you what, they'd be able to put up just as much noise and help you guys out, you know, because we're loud and rowdy at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I tell you what, we at least get a handful of our guys always saying to us, it's like, yeah, I'd love to be in the South Stand right now for this match, you know. No,
it's good. The South Stand's brilliant. But like you say, City play around with it sometimes. They'll move the fans above us. Burnley are there tomorrow. They've got 8,000 above us. Now, if you've ever been to a stadium where the opposition fans are above you, I'm directly underneath Burnley. There'll be 8,000 singing like mad. I won't hear them. We don't hear them because the sound travels up. And then they don't, and they're like, oh, you know, jumping around and that. And I think Arsenal came in the cup and they said, did you hear the Arsenal fans? They were loud. And I was like, didn't hear them. Someone went, are you joking? I went, no. But then I went home and watched the game again. And all I could hear was the Arsenal fans going crazy. So City need to get that right in the stadium. I mean, I do like the away fans where they are now because both corners, the South Stand and that little corner, can both give them shit. And it sort of works. But when they're above and up in the gods, I think it takes the atmosphere away, from us anyway.
Yeah, no, I've got to say, I mean, I was talking to did a Twitter space earlier, speaking to some fans, and there was a couple of Bayern fans come in, and they are really confident. They are of the opinion that they're going to come to the Etihad and win at the Etihad and then win at the Allianz Arena. And I'm like, why? So, because we've got Gnabry, we've got Koeman, we've got Sane, even when we've got Cancelo. I said, please bring Cancelo. So play Cancelo all game for all I care. I want to watch Phil Foden rinse him or Jack Grealish do him all day long. I'd love that. So, but then again, there were City fans who were very confident. But like you said, there'll be Bayern who are a bit nervy. And I suppose we're just going to see when we'll find out on the day. It's going to be one of them. It will be nerve-wracking. But the one thing I think we've got to do, like you said, we've got to take our chances at the Etihad. We can't do what we did against Real Madrid and waste 4, 5, 6, 7 chances, and then we're regretting them going back to the Allianz Arena like we did at the Bernabeu last year. Can't do that. Evening, Alan.
Good morning. When you're telling me it was an 8 o'clock start in the morning when it wasn't, well, there we go.
Alan can't read text messages. Anyway,
I read your text message. You said 8 o'clock in the morning, Australian time, and it's now 1:45. Well, there we go.
Alan, I'm not going to get into it live on air.
All right,
Alan,
okay. No,
Alan's still waiting.
More people don't realise the time of the
you know,
hey, Alan's still waiting for the iPhone to come out in Braille.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm not that old.
Alan,
would you
you've
say,
obviously seen the Champions League draw.
Yeah, I watched the draw live last night. I watched the draw live last night from over here, and I had obviously when we came out, I was going. I didn't want Chelsea. I just wanted to avoid Chelsea, to be honest with you, because they started to play quite well now, and I wanted to avoid them because they were an English team. But the last team I really didn't want was Bayern. And then the semi-final is going to be the Chelsea or Real Madrid. So, like you say, I thought shit. But if we're going to win it, we've got to beat these teams. I think everyone's got to agree with that. If we're going to win the trophy, we've got to go and beat these teams no matter what. Yes, it'll be harder when it's because it's too late. I would have preferred to have played one of Real Madrid or Bayern in the final, but it's pretty much, if we're going to get to the final, it looks like we're going to be with the fruitcake idiots from Napoli in the final, because I can't see them losing to any of those teams. I'll be honest with you. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, mate.
You are right. You know, Napoli, I wonder if they're a bit like us? Like, we don't really like playing domestic teams in the Europe side. Like, if we get Liverpool, you think, fucking hell, Liverpool.
I was just about to say that, Steve.
I wonder if they're thinking, oh, AC Milan, because you think the history of the Serie A, AC and Inter have dominated it really for years. Napoli haven't been there. I wonder if they're thinking, you know what, on a two-legged thing, AC Milan might do, or Inter Milan might do. I mean, you just don't know, do you?
You don't know. It is a cup tie. It's not a league, as much as what people want to think it is. But I'm more worried about us playing Bayern Munich. It's going to be really tough. It is. But Martin is 100% correct. When we're at home, we have to take our chances. We can't start stuffing them up like we have done previously in previous years. Like big example was Real Madrid last year at home, which was we battered them. To be honest with you, I thought we battered them in the second leg as well. But we fell to pieces at the end, didn't we? So it's just one of the. It's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult. But I was watching it, and we were texting each other from over here. All the Man City fans over here, as Pat knows, there's a lot of Mancs in Melbourne, and we're all like, "Oh shit," And that was the first reaction, I must admit.
I've seen a lot of people talking about like McLovin there, City fan, good defence in Bayern Munich, Haaland will, won't save us. To be totally honest with you, I honestly think this is, people have moaned about this 3-2-2-3 system, this brand new formation that we rolled out. And I am adamant, and I've been adamant all season, this is the competition why we've done it. This is the whole reason why we've done this, is to get to this point. And people have talked about Kyle Walker coming out, and to me, I don't think he'll do that, because I think he's not going to put a whole plan in place and then throw the whole system out the window just because a top team up here. At the end of the day, RB Leipzig were flying in the Bundesliga. I think, the third, the fourth, scoring goals for fun.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, Bayern Munich, I've had a look at some of the results today. They've had a lot of draws, especially at home. A lot of draws, especially at home.
Well, I'll settle for a draw over there and win at the Etihad. That'll do us, and we're through. But it's not going to be easy, mate. We could have landed on the other side of the draw and been a lot more comfortable, I think, because I wanted the Milan clubs or Benfica. I think we all did, but we didn't get it. So it's the way it goes.
Oh, is he? What, is he wearing a cap?
Who's this?
Wearing a cap.
It's got to be Rich.
I mean, I'd even.
And I'm done with here.
Evening, Spencer. Evening, Bobby.
Howard, you need to chill out, mate.
Well, it's not my fault. Martin said 8 a.m., but there we go.
Spencer, can you put a lead on him? Put a lead on him, please. I'm begging you.
Mate,
Lee, put a bloody shot collar.
messaging me at 7:30. We're on in 30 minutes. You should come. Like, mate.
He doesn't give you a countdown. How are you, Spence?
Yeah, I'm good. Apart from getting 27 phone calls from Alan.
See,
you rang me last night about recruitment.
Don't ever give Alan your Instagram, your phone number, your nothing, because he'll just harass you for the rest of the
Mate,
time.
I'm going to block him. I'm going to block him.
You don't do that, because you wouldn't know what to talk to when you've got recruitment issues. So don't do that.
Anyway, Spence, how are you doing? I've heard you've been busy.
Double busy. Yeah. Double
What is it you're doing now, mate? You are
I've just finished up with PNG, so I'm back in Sydney now. So I've got to write a report for FIFA.
They don't understand what PNG is, so you have to keep it plain English.
It's PNG, it's Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea ladies team for the World Cup.
Yeah. And I backed myself.
Did you not fancy managing City, Spencer?
We got a whole load of the World Cup footballs, right? And I managed to nick one. So that's not gone back.
Oh dear. Anyway, Spencer, Steve's with us. You've probably seen Big Steve.
Hello.
How are you, Spencer? All right, mate?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
It's a bit early. but it's all good.
Yeah, it's a bit late here, but you know, it's one of them
It's a bit
shows.
late, bit early. Can't win with you lot. Can't. So Ben, stop. We're just talking about the Champions League draw. Obviously, City have got Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
In the round. Who's going to be happier for you out of those two teams, Bayern or City?
Neither. Because we're both in the same half of the draw with Real Madrid, so that's neither.
Steve wanted Real Madrid. He wanted them.
Yeah, I wanted them, mate. I just think we're an elite team now. I don't think people want to play us. So I'm just thinking, let's get it out of the way. We've got to do it. Let's get it out of the way. You know, don't like to tiptoe around these draws, and then I'd rather just plough through them. Yeah,
look, I would agree that if Man City are going to win it, you've got to play the best and beat the best to win it. And unfortunately, teams like Leicester aren't in it anymore. So you got to go and beat the teams that are the best in Europe. And I'll be honest, I'm glad we've dodged Napoli, because they're the team at the moment that are seem to be going so well over in Italy. Eh? That they're the dark horses of this, I think.
You see, we spoke about Napoli today, and a few of the lads, they highlighted they've got a good span of the team. They've got the Kim at centre half. They've got the Georgian fella in the middle. I can't pronounce his name. Georgia Kinkladze too. And then they've got Osimhen. They've got Osimhen up front. And then I said, well, okay, if we ask Napoli about us, they're going to say, got Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, Erling Haaland, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden. So this is what I'm saying. We're City fans. We're a bit spoilt, but we're looking at Napoli. But yeah, they're playing well in Italy, but I fancy City. Me, this season's had a different feel. Every season in the Champions League, you get a feel in my chest. And this season, the pressure's not been there for me. Last season, the pressure was on, and I thought, Real Madrid, we played them at the Etihad, we're going to the Bernabeu, and, you know, see what happened. This season, I think I'm a lot more relaxed about it. I feel a little bit more confident than I've ever been. I don't know why that is. I just think...
Do you think it's the system?
You feel like we're building up to something.
Say again, mate.
Do you think it's the system and seeing that he has learned from Madrid in a way?
I don't know if I'm I don't know if I think that the Haaland thing with him, he's just an elite level striker. I mean, you've seen the chances we missed against Madrid at the Etihad to put him to bed. You see the little chances like against Lyon the other year with Raheem Sterling, and it flies over the bar. These chances for Earl, we can see Erling not touch the ball for 22 minutes, and he have 3 chances, score all 3. I just think in this competition at this business end of the season, he's exactly what we need.
Do you know what? Again, the only thing I was talking to this Bayern fan today, and he went, "I'm not worried about Haaland." I said, "Why?" He went, "Played us 7 times and not won."
Yeah, he's not got our boys behind him now, though, has he?
I said, you've got De Bruyne, you got Foden, you got Bernardo. He went, "Yeah, but we've got Gnabry, Kingsley Coman, we've got Leroy Sané, we've got Muller." Well, it's not a competition, this, about... And it was this... The couple of Bayern fans were, like, so arrogant of, like, we're just a nothing team. And they were buzzing that we've got us.
They don't play anyone. They don't play anyone every single week. They play Mickey Mouse teams every week, and this is the problem.
But they're struggling. They're struggling in their league.
I know.
They play a high line as well. And I just think, I think they might change a little bit to suit us. I don't think they're going to come to the Etihad and think they're going to take us off the blows away. Like we said before, City's unbeaten in 24 at the Etihad. We've had German teams here, Dortmund and Leipzig, doing no mugs, and seeing what happened. If I'm the manager of Bayern and I've seen what Man City's just done to Leipzig, I'm not overconfident. They're going to try and come and just be nice and steady and tight and maybe nick something at the Etihad. But I think we've just got to go for it at the Etihad. Take something back to Germany. Don't make the same mistake as Real Madrid.
Simon Hill's just joined us. Going to bring Simon in. Good evening, good morning, Simon. How are you?
How are you guys? You all right?
Yeah, good mate.
No, not bad, mate.
Good, Simon. Good to see you, mate.
You too. How are you, Pat?
Good, mate. Good.
There you go. Full panel on tonight. Vator's even joined us. Everyone's here.
Yeah, everyone's
Thanks for having me.
So, Simon, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm disappointed to see Spencer not in his City top, but apart from that,
I know.
Did no one get the memo?
I think I've got it on.
Uniform.
I think I'm wearing it.
I'm quite surprised Spencer's not wearing his Southend shirt.
Mate, put themselves on the market today, which is brilliant. Look like wrongs.
Have they? Have they managed to? Did they get a stay?
£2.50 apparently.
Well, I don't know what they're buying. They don't own anything.
So we'll come to Simon first. I'm just going around getting everyone's initial thoughts on this Champions League draw, because obviously there's some City fans who are scared, and there's fans like me and Steve who are like, "Yeah, bring it on. I think we can beat them."
Well, we can beat them. I mean, we beat them. Was it last year we played them? Or the year before? I'm trying to remember, in the Champions League, and we beat them. So,
year before.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good side. There's no doubt about that. I'm a bit irritated that apparently Cancelo can play. I would have thought we'd have put something in that clause to say that he couldn't play. Well, I mean, if he belongs to us, which he does still, then really he shouldn't play in this tie. But anyway, it'll be difficult. I prefer the second leg at home as well, but they're beatable. I think we match up well against German teams as well. We've got a good record against teams from the Bundesliga. The one player that concerns me a bit is Leroy Sané, to be honest. I wish we still had him, because I think he'd provide some brilliant service for Haaland. But yeah, I think overall, if you're going to win the Champions League, you're going to have to beat all the top teams, aren't you? And obviously, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it the hard way: Real Madrid or Chelsea in the semis. But it's doable. It's a difficult draw. I'd have preferred one of the Italian teams, apart from Napoli. But anyway, it is what it is. So we've got to get on with it, haven't we?
I think it's weird how everyone's writing Chelsea off.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
They're playing all right now. They've got the confidence now. So,
but Chelsea as well. Real Madrid. I mean, this is their tournament, isn't it? As we found out to our cost, and Liverpool did in the final last year. It's they find ways to win in this competition. I don't know whether that's DNA or experience or whatever it is. That'll be really tough for Chelsea, because they're not exactly having the best season.
I think Vinicius Junior is key for everything they do. And last year when Walker played against him, kept him so quiet. He went off in that second leg, Kyle, and it all went tits up. In the first leg, we had Fernandinho playing at right back late on, and he caused us problems. I mean, you see what he did to Trent the other night. And I just think, with Kyle Walker in that team, if we get through Bayern, I think we've got all the tools to put it right, what we made last year. But we just got to get past Bayern. We can't overlook them. And the good thing is, if we do get past Bayern, the Madrid semi, the second leg's at the Etihad. So that makes a massive difference for me. If we can go out to the Bernabeu and just keep it tight and come back to the Etihad, another big night under the lights at the Etihad, what we talked about, it'd be fantastic. But I don't want to jump the gun. You know what I mean? I'm getting a bit excited here.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I have been on this treble thing, and I don't mean a treble vodka or a treble whiskey or whatever Steve has while he's out in Madrid or Bayern or wherever he's on. But honestly, I'm starting to believe that this treble could be on, and maybe I'm being way over my station there. But I just think City are hitting the mojo at the right time again.
Yeah, I'm glad that no one else has picked up on this treble talk, because I don't want that in the air just yet.
No, I don't either.
I don't want it in the air just yet. But we are clicking at the right time. The fact that Pep has everyone healthy is absolutely fantastic. He now has all the tools that he wants on how he wants to deal with the opposition. So that's great to see. I think we have the quality, and I think we have the manager that's going to have the best system to really deal with Bayern. I agree with everyone. I hate the fact that we play at home first in this tie, but I think we handle business. And what Pep's been showing is that he's okay controlling games. He's okay controlling possession and not necessarily doing an up and down, back and forth type game. And I think we can handle that with a positive result at home, and then on that second leg over in Bayern to handle business. I've been hearing from a few Bayern fans that said they've actually exited the tournament a few times having their second leg being at home. So we can take a little confidence in that, but I'm okay with that draw. We're gonna have to play the big boys all throughout this, and Bayern first, cool.
Do you think it's the case that whoever we play is we're going to have to outscore whoever we're playing, naturally, obviously, to win a game? But I still don't know if he knows what his best back four is yet.
That's the problem, isn't it?
To me, the reason why we've gone out of Champions League in previous years is because we've conceded goals. And you can't concede goals in the Champions League. The winners of the Champions League are the ones that have the best defence as well. So we cannot concede goals.
The biggest thing that concerns me out of all of this, we're getting towards the latter stage of the Champions League again, is Pep going to start overthinking?
Yep.
Particularly against, the bigger clubs, which he's done it before. We remember in the Champions League final playing without a defensive midfielder. He did the same against Lyon. A few years. No, sorry to bring that up.
I've been trying to forget that.
Yeah, I know. I know. But he does have a bit of a habit of this. So, just stick to what you know, Pep. It's going all right at the moment. I'm not sure about the treble stuff, by the way.
No, I honestly think he will. I think he's found something. Because Nathan Aki right now is unmovable.
Yeah, definitely.
I think probably Diaz. And I think he does favour Akanji because Steve, as me and you talked about, Steve, Laporte's just seen his ass. He's seen his ass.
I don't fancy him, does it? The full-back, the right-back situations where he's going to tinker with it. It's whether he's going to think John Stones continue at right-back or against Bayern with the pace they've got on the flanks. Is he going to want Kyle Walker there just in case we get caught in a counter-attack and we've got Kyle back? In the Premier League, it looks like he's working with Ake at left back and Stones at right back. Diaz, Akanji look comfortable. But if I can see him messing, it'll be with Kyle. And I don't think Kyle can do that inverted full-back role, that Rico and Stones. I don't think Kyle can do it. But Kyle Walker in Europe, Atletico Madrid last year, on the counter-attack pace, gets us out of a lot of shit. I think Real Madrid last year, Kyle. So whether he goes down that road, I don't know, but it is what it is. We are peaking at the right time, and Ruben Diaz has been massive. Just the way
he's been a difference. He's been a difference, Steve. As soon as he's come back, we're getting clean sheets now. As soon as he's walked back in the team,
mad though, because Pep put him on the bench for a couple of games, and people were saying, "Why is he not playing him?" And I just think he was just making sure he was 100%. He didn't want to risk it, and then he's got him in there now. And I mean, the huddle before the game that we're doing now, it looks like we've got a bit of togetherness, but he's the man in the huddle doing the talk. When the Sky camera put the camera in, it's Ruben Diaz. And he's what we need. But I just don't know Pep with the mad tinkering. I said he wouldn't do it last season, and he did it, but I don't know. The genius in it's a genius mind. All geniuses are flawed somewhere down the line.
There's a fine line between madness and genius as well.
To answer the question with the back four, I think his back four is Ake, Diaz, Akanji, and Stones. I think that's his back four. But if there's pace, and it's funny because he trusted Stones with pace against Real Madrid. I know we didn't have the body, so he had to put Stones out there. But the fact that he put in a shift before blowing a tire, I think that's why he's had confidence to use him. I think if Pep is really stressed with that pacey left wing, he's going to have Walker out there, and maybe Stones tucks in and Akanji falls off of that back four, would be my guess. But he's got options.
I'll be playing Kyle Walker.
So you're going to be late
against Bayern?
Yeah. No.
You need that pace. It's our Achilles heel that we can get caught in those transitional moments. We still see it a lot in the Premier League. And Walker's pace, as you rightly say, Steve, it gets us out of jail on occasion. Particularly, in that first leg where you keeping a clean sheet is so important. Not concede. I know the away goals rule is gone now, but you concede and you can be in a lot of trouble in the Champions League. So I'd be playing Walker at least in the first leg, and then see what you've got to take back to Germany.
It is a tricky one because it depends who he plays. Because I'm happy with Aki there because Aki's dealt with Saka and Salah, and he's dealt with them quite comfortably. Mm-hmm. So Saka's not had a decent game since he's played against Ake.
Can I just ask Spencer a question? Being an ex-pro, where do you see this game won and lost for both teams? If you're Pep Guardiola, are you going to play Kyle Walker because of Bayern Munich's pace, or are you going to stick with the rhythm that we've got now and think Ake and Stones can handle it? And then if you're Pep going up against that Bayern team, where do we hurt them?
No, look, we know he likes to control midfield, right? So you touched on Walker being able to go inverted and go in there and play in there comfortably. I like it when he plays Ake as a left back, Diaz and Akanji, because what that can do when Walker comes inside, it allows him to shift into almost like a back three, knowing he's got three true out-and-out centre-backs playing in there. The challenge when you're playing John Stones in there and he steps in, it's not the same. Firstly, I don't think he's as dangerous going forward as Walker is as well. But defensively, Walker's speed is really important. Akanji both him and Diaz seem to be better readers of the game than using their pace to get them out of awkward situations. And when you're going to go and play against, whether it's Bayern or it's Real Madrid or Chelsea or whoever, the defining moment when you kind of get a little bit caught out, I don't think they've got the speed to get them out of those situations against top strikers. Whereas Walker's speed is a bit of a safety blanket. So I'd much rather he go in there, and maybe in the first leg be a little bit more conservative with it, with him starting to look to go forwards and join in, because the pace and counter-attack of these top teams is far better than, let's just say, Crystal Palace, who we kept a clean sheet against last week. We can't be basing clean sheets off of keeping them against Crystal Palace. These are top teams that we're going to go and play with top speed. So I'd be, in the lead up now, I'm hoping that we start to see a Man City back four that's settled rather than keep chopping and changing, because I think those relationships and understanding where people need to be, you need to have that consistency going into that Champions League game. So it'd be good to see whatever back four he wants to play in that game against Bayern in the first leg, get a run of games together rather than just chopping and changing and bringing people in and out and making sure they're fresh. You need to have a good relationship and understanding of each other and how you play together. So that would be my back four.
Given Pep's tinkering in this competition, he'll probably play Haaland at right back.
I was going to ask, could we see the potential back four versus Liverpool that might play against a Bayern? I know we play Liverpool on
another mid-table
candidate out, yeah.
Spencer doesn't like Liverpool like I don't. We have conversations about his work environment, about Liverpool fans in Australia, and we have the same opinion. Trust us.
Pat, I just want to ask you a quick question, and anyone after Pat jump in. Is anyone concerned? Because obviously we're going to get onto the Burnley game very, very soon. Is anyone concerned that we might end up in the exact same situation as last season, where if we beat Burnley, we all traipse over to Wembley and Vator's smiling because this has been my concern, and we all go to the semi-final at Wembley in the FA Cup and have a nice day, and Pep has got all these Champions Leagues and we've got the Premier League, because I think the two games sandwiched in between Bayern, Southampton away and Brighton, which will be moved if we obviously beat Burnley tomorrow. Pat, is there a way we can navigate through without doing what we did last year? If everyone remembers Wembley.
Yeah, I think there is. First of all, you certainly learn from your mistakes too. But I think if I remember correctly, there were a couple of injuries leading up to that Liverpool game as well too. So that kind of forced Pep's hand for a little bit of rotation. But again, it just comes down to the simple fact that you learn from your mistakes. And I was kind of allude to what Big Steve said as well too. Was you get the sense that this team is brewing towards something bigger, to the point of where we're starting to get on a little bit of a run, and we're actually getting on this run at the right time of the season, not necessarily like previous years where we get on that massive run of games from November, December, and pretty much wrap up the league, but then we lose that form come March, April at the business end of the season. And I feel like we're doing that now. Now, whether we have to thank Qatar World Cup for that, I don't know, but it certainly has given Pep an opportunity to basically sort of analyze what he wants to do for the second half of the season and build towards something. And I think that we're starting to see this momentum now, that regardless of who he plays on the pitch, or if we goes past the old mantra of Pep overthinking things, or are we worried about rotating players, for Wembley, knowing that we could be playing away at the Bernabeu, 3 days later or something like that. But I feel like whatever he does, just from the mistakes he may have learned from last season, from previous seasons, there's every opportunity now that whatever lineup he puts out there, it will be effective, regardless of who we've got to play, 3 days apart.
Yeah. Anyone else on that, or am I talking absolute waffle? By all means, I don't mind.
No, I think we all agree he's got to get a settled defence, and these games. I think if we are playing 3 days, we're playing semi-final of the FA Cup if we get to Wembley, if we beat Burnley, and then we're playing 3 days later. We're playing at the Bernabeu. And I know he'll rest players before that, before the Bernabeu, which he did in the semi-final last year, and we got stuffed big time. So
the only reason I ask is because the second leg's the 19th of April in the Allianz Arena. If we beat Burnley tomorrow, the semi-final is the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd.
Okay.
I just realised I've dropped a right bollock. I'm going to Holland for the PSV Ajax game, and it's the weekend of the semi-final. That's why you might have seen that horrid look on my face then when I was just checking the dates on my phone.
Well, Steve, as long as you're back in time for the Arsenal game, because I think that's on about the 26th, isn't it?
How long are you going for?
No, I'll fly back from Germany on the Thursday. Then I fly to Holland Friday morning, which is it'll be the semi-final on the Saturday or the Sunday, won't it? So
yeah,
that's not good. It'll be getting cancelled if it's United.
I
know I can't miss that. Even though it's PSV Ajax, I'm actually going for business, so don't even know.
No, but that is my worry. Imagine knowing our luck. We're going to have Bayern Munich in the second leg, and 4 days later roll into a derby at Wembley.
Martin, it happened last year. I flew back from Madrid. I had to stay in Milton Keynes for one night. Then I went to Wembley. We played Liverpool. We had to play Zach Steffen in net, and we patched up the defence with Fernandinho. We were literally patching the team up. We lost the semi-final. And then I think we in the midweek we were at Wolves or something, and then we were flying out again to Madrid or whatever. Just madness. So
yeah.
Steve, those of us in Australia don't get to watch City every week. Come on, stop moaning.
I know.
I wish I had the same problem, Steve.
I was sat in the car park at Wembley because I park in the disabled car park. I had a load of Liverpool fans giving it me before the game, so I thought I'll give a bit back. Sat in my car full time, because obviously full time we just went because I thought I'm not, getting beat by them. My car was surrounded by Liverpool fans banging on my window. And I was
I know.
just
I watched it
thinking, I'm like, oh, that's what I leave. And as you know, you ain't getting out of the multi-story car parks at Wembley Stadium anytime soon. I'm just like, oh, forget this. And I just got
Liverpool fans having a pop. Who'd have thought it?
Liverpool fans, yeah, true.
They
have a pop in Australia, don't they, Simon?
I suppose.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the absolute worst.
Yeah.
You want to win them, which actually brings us to tomorrow. Then Vincent comes home. Rumour going round. Apparently, they're going to stick a Burnley shirt and a Burnley scarf on his statue tomorrow.
Well, I better not see that. I better not see that. But there's 8,000 of them coming down. So I think I know quite a few Burnley fans, to be honest, and they're really excited. It's a big day out for them. Obviously, they're playing some fantastic football. They're coming against Man City. They've been burnt against us last few times. But there's a bit of nostalgia around it. I spoke to Vinny's wife the morning before the draw, and I said, I can see us getting Burnley. And her response was, oh, God, no, because she's a blue. She's massive blue. When the draw came in, she replied on my Instagram and she said, it's good to come home and that. I spoke to her yesterday and I said, good luck for the weekend and I hope, you have a really good time. And I think Vinny's going to get a special reception. And she said, oh, no, he's looking forward to it. And they were singing his name the other night. The guy's a legend. He's the captain. He's my captain. He's everyone else's captain. And, it's mad seeing him in the other dugout. But, yeah, look, here's to you, Vincent Kompany. And he knows how much we love him. And he represents Man City unbelievable. But Burnley got the tails up, the top of the Championship, playing some fantastic football. They've got 8,000 fans coming. They're coming to the Etihad. It's a day out for them. It's a free hit. And we just got to make sure we do our job and get through. We can't let nostalgia and that get in the way. We did it once. Uwe Rosler came with Wigan and beat us. And we've spent all game singing Uwe's name, and I think they beat us. I said to his wife, if Burnley beat us, that fucking statue's going in the canal. So,
God, don't mention Wigan. I came back from Australia for that final in 2013. And
I did the same, Simon. I did the same.
We sang Uwe's name all game. And then he beat us, and we were like, hang on a minute, that wasn't right anymore. And that's what worries me for tomorrow, the emotion. I don't want to spend the game singing. I love Kompany, but for 90 minutes, he's the opposition tomorrow.
Part of you don't want to lever him, though, does it? You know what I mean? You don't want to sit him out for it, and make him look bad. But listen, he won't look bad anyway. Look at the job he's done this season. He's going to the Premier League. The whole town of Burnley love him like you've never believed. They've never seen football like it. They've been used to dice ball for years. So anyone that if anyone does a step over at Burnley, they get a fucking statue outside. Never see it.
I think the interesting thing about Kompany is that when he started his coaching managerial career with Anderlecht, he didn't actually do that well.
No, he had a poor
but
start.
in some ways, because he was in England for so long, he's probably more suited to English football than his home country. And I hope that he continues doing it because I want to see him as City manager eventually.
Yeah, I do.
Because I think that would just be fantastic.
Sorry, Sam, just go back to what Steve said. As the former pro, have you ever been in the Kompany situation where you've gone back to a place you loved? I mean, does that affect you as a pro, or are you going there just fully as laser focused? It's a job.
I used to love going back. So when I left, particularly when I left Leicester and went to Derby, crosstown rivals, and went to play at Leicester, the reception I got was really good, but we beat them. And the adrenaline that goes through you and staying in the moment and a bit like you said there, he'll come back to Man City and he'll enjoy and love the attention and the round of applause that he'll give before the game, but guaranteed you when he will be so motivated to beat them. It's not even funny. There'll be that you want to go back and prove something. So you feel like you've always got to go back and prove something, even though what he did as a player was beyond anybody else, right? Going back as a coach and as a manager, it's like he's now on another journey, a completely different journey. And so he'll want to go and have to prove something. And Simon touched on the fact that he went to Anderlecht and wasn't a success, and that's part of his learning process as a manager. And just because you were an outstanding player doesn't suddenly make you a great coach or manager. And you only become that once you've made 1, 2, 3, 4 mistakes, and you learn and you get better and better and better. And we're even seeing it with Pep now, right? Learning from mistakes and how he's going to maybe adapt going into this year. So he'll be fully motivated. And yeah, I love going back to clubs where I'd had good success, and it was always good. You always got a good reception. But when you
I was going to ask you a question about the club that you support, and I know Vincent Kompany probably didn't grow up as a City fan, but I think he probably is one now because he's so loved by the club and he had such great success there. You grew up, I know, in Essex, and you were a Southend fan, and you went back to play for that club. Yeah. Does that give it an extra edge for Kompany? Like when you played for Southend, was it different playing for Southend than playing for Derby or Leicester? I won't say City because obviously you're a City fan as well. But Southend was your club when you were a kid.
Yeah, and going back and playing for your home, particularly because it was my hometown team, or is my hometown team. So going back and playing there and so when I started there, we were in what was the old 4th division, got up to the 2nd division, and then I left and went to Norwich. Did all my rounds, finished up with about 27 clubs. Then when I went back to Southend, they were in what was League 2, and we got up to the Championship again. So to be able to have that success twice at my hometown team and the legacy that you'd be part of leaving was something that I was super proud of. Vincent Kompany, without any doubt, despite Man City not being his hometown team, has got such an affection and an affiliation with the club because of the results and things he achieved there. I genuinely believe that he would, if he continues with the successful Burnley, will be lined up to be the next manager, if not the one after. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that, look, for me, going back and playing at hometown team was really special.
Can I just jump
I asked his wife that question, about the manager's job, and she said to me, he would never take the job if he didn't think he was up to it, just for the sake of it. He wouldn't ruin any of his legacy to take it. And I thought it was nice, Yeah, I don't think Vinny's that kind of guy. He even said that the other day, didn't he? Man City deserve the best managers, but I think if he can get Burnley to the Premier League, which is nailed on more or less, and he does well in the Prem for another couple of seasons, it might just tie in for the right time where Pep says goodbye, and who better to step in than I think someone all City fans wouldn't moan about. They'd have him if he was up there. They'd have him, but I don't think as a man he would. If he knew he wasn't up for it, I don't think he would ruin his legacy, and just jump into it.
But unfortunately, legacy will always be ruined when coaches come in. Look, the average tenure of a coach in the Premier League is 18 months. Yeah. So why would we expect that Vincent Kompany might come in, coach Manchester City, and be there for 10 years?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Why would we expect that? So, it's obviously a very, very results-driven club with Champions League winners as the expectation, right? To win your domestics as a minimum, and the Champions League is now what we're targeting under Pep, right? So when Vincent Kompany comes in, what do the expectations suddenly drop? And there would be pressures on him if he came in as a manager that would be beyond, and he wouldn't get any leniency because of his legacy as a player, right? And once you're a manager, your legacy as a player is kind of forgotten, and you're now the manager. And he might get a little bit of slack, but if the results as a manager aren't coming in, the club wouldn't have another. They get rid. They'd move someone on.
You can spoil that legacy as well, can't you? I mean, 2 words: Francis Lee. You know, when he became chairman,
Solskjaer.
Yeah, Solskjaer as well. You know,
Frank Lampard sometimes at Chelsea wasn't the best.
Yeah, so you got to be very careful going back to that club, you know, particularly in such a high-profile role as a manager. But I think because of the emotion that surrounds him, and because we all love him so much, I think we'd all really like to see it. But it's good to hear that he's got that mindset that if I'm not ready for it, I won't take it, because he knows how special the club is to him, and vice versa. I think it's a way off yet, anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't seem a stupid man that would do.
No.
And
I spoke to a few ex-players, and the ex-players said that in the dressing room, he was unbelievable. Joleon Lescott, that interview I did with him, and he said Vinny was just next level, you know, captain material. If you drop your shirt on the floor in the dressing room, you were fined. Pick the shirt up, you know, don't disrespect the shirt. He said he was on it, fines, lateness, anything like that. He said he ran it. He really did. And he said, and it was interesting, I think he did a interview with Rio Ferdinand on 5, and he said under Mancini that they were conceding stupid goals. So Vinny got the back 4 in, and for extra lessons with the analysis team, and they were putting together where they were making mistakes and all that. And he did that off his own back because he knew they had a problem. He said under Pep probably wouldn't allow that. He wouldn't have that. But under Mancini just sort of let it roll, and he said it worked for them. You know what I mean? But that's the kind of the man I think he is. I think on and off the pitch for Man City, he's always been our leader. He's always been gracious in defeat. You know, if we've ever struggled, I remember being at Anfield in the Champions League when Liverpool hit us early doors, and in that game in the first leg, and we were deflated in the away end. And he came over at the end and he said, he just went, "I'm sorry, we'll turn it around next leg." I left that stadium then feeling $1 million, because Vincent Kompany told me, not just me, the rest of us, that he was going to turn it around. And I just think, you know, as a man, and as he's a legend of the club, but like you say, tomorrow we need to slap him.
We didn't turn it around though, did we?
No, we didn't.
Pat, was you going to say something, mate?
Yeah, I was just reiterating what Spencer was saying about Vincent Kompany's sort of managerial journey, and the thing too is obviously we're forgetting that after this is an international break, and I'm sure when Vinny goes back to Burnley after this, and regardless of what the result is, he's certainly going to have one eye already on the Premier League, because let's be honest, the way Burnley playing, they're probably going to wrap up the championship and probably by the end of April, I reckon. So I think his true test, the best test he's going to get from this game too, is like he's already going to get a bit of an experience for what he might be in for next season, because he's already up against a Premier League outfit. So it'll be good to see. I hope Vinny puts full strength, or as strong as he can, for Burnley, given there is the international break. I don't know if Taylor Harwood-Bellis is allowed to start in this because he's obviously a City loanee, but I hope he does play, because he has been very good for them in the Championship this season. But yeah, I think for Vincent Kompany's young managerial reputation in England, I think this is the perfect game for him to springboard into the remainder of the Championship season, and to see where he stands into the Premier League next season with Burnley.
Hey, then we'll go to Alan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope there's many, many years before Kompany comes to us, because you don't want to follow Michael Jackson after a performance. You don't want to follow Whitney Houston, and you don't want to follow Pep. Hopefully there's a little time before he does have to do that. But this game is going to be tremendous for us. Pep said it. You reminded me, Martin. Pep said there were 3 important games, and we had to deal with the league game, we had to deal with the Champions League game, and now we got to deal with this FA Cup. So let's get that result. I don't think it's going to be an embarrassing one. Nothing to really do that against the opposing manager or the team, but I think it's going to be a very solid performance and convincing win. And we go into this international break, and and then hope that players keep their form when they come back, because that next game after international break is against Liverpool. But I'm looking forward to it, and I think Kompany is going to get the proper acknowledgement from the fans, and hopefully the players themselves are going to be laser focused to deal with it emotionless or lack of emotion on that pitch.
Well, Vader, your analogy is flawed, mate, because if you're following Michael Jackson and Whitney, then you're bloody pushing up daisies.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
Go on,
enough.
Alan.
It's going to be a weird feeling tomorrow when you see Vinny coming out the tunnel, because it will probably remind me
Wearing claret, yeah.
when Kevin Keegan came out at St James's Park when he was City manager, and he's going to get a hero's welcome. And City just got to be professional for me. The emotion's not going to get to them, because most of the players that are playing in our team have played with Vinny, and know him well. So it's going to be a tricky game. I think it'll be tight. I think I've watched Burnley a few times this year. They play decent football, but if City play to the maximum, they'll win. But I'm hoping for Vinny's sake, it's not an embarrassing one. I hope it's just a 2-0, 3-1 type win, routine type win, and then move on. But to me, Vinny's still our captain, still our leader, still our legend, and he'll always will be. I met him. I know Steve's met him. I've met him as well when I walked in the CFA to speak to Brian, and I was lucky enough to meet him and have a chat with him over lunch. He's like a parting of the way. As soon as he walks in, all the staff there and everyone that was having their lunch is as if the king had just walked in. They're in awe of him, and I must admit I was. He's very intelligent, very smart, and such a nice person as well.
By the way, Alan, how big is he? I interviewed him a few years ago, and he almost blocked the sun out.
He's big. He's a big lad.
Massive.
Yeah.
He's got a big head as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yes, Simon. I met him in Nashville, and
Not wrong with a big head.
Yeah, Simon. I met Vinny in Nashville, and I got to say, like, I'm easily 6 foot myself, and I was still a bit like,
well, he's a big lad.
He's a big unit.
Yeah.
And Yaya Toure was bigger than him.
I know. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
I mean, I think they have got some injuries. I think Jay Rodriguez is still out. I think Brownhill might be out. Then obviously there's MUNCIH coming back. Egan Riley coming back. I think Taylor Howard Bellis is injured actually, so I don't think he can play. But start with you, Steve. Where do you place the importance of tomorrow? Team-wise, or
well, we're going into an international break, so I mean, it is what it is. Do we want to keep the rhythm, and is he going to put a really strong side out, which he has done in this competition before, or is he one or two players like Riyad Mahrez and that who've not been featuring, Kyle Walker, Emerick Laporte, Calvin Phillips, who are just getting the odd 20 minutes here and there? Does he think they're strong enough to bring in and get the win? It depends. I think you might see a bit of a mismatched team tomorrow. I think you will see Riyad. I think you might see Laporte. If Laporte doesn't play tomorrow, there's an issue there for me, 100%, because he should be playing really. He should be getting minutes here and there. The young kid Perone, maybe he might feature somewhere. Alvarez he's chomping at the bit, but can you drop Erling after 5 goals? I think Pep probably could do that and get away with it, but
Alvarez
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't think any of us can predict a Pep lineup now in a cup competition. It's weird.
Would you like to see somebody like Cole Palmer get a start?
Yeah, I feel a bit for Cole
because cup tie and at home.
With Cole, he came in and he looked unbelievable, I thought, and I think up until the Swindon game last year when he played really, really well, and he got a bit of a knock. It just not really happened for him. I'm starting to think, is he going to make it there in that first team, or is he just going to drop down now? It doesn't look like he's setting the world on fire when he does come on. But these are the competitions where we're not disrespecting the FA by saying this, but we have got a big squad, and it is hard to keep them happy. So.
There's a good example there as well, I think, with Phil Foden. I remember a couple of years ago, and everybody was saying, "Oh, Phil Foden has to leave to get game time. He's never going to make it at City. And obviously Pep was, keeping a good eye on him and making sure that he was being developed in the right way. And I just wonder whether, I mean, you're right that Cole Palmer's not quite at the same level as Foden was, but I think there's still potential there for him. I think he's a terrific young kid. The same with Rico Lewis as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets some game time as well across.
I tell you what, if Burnley get to the Premier League, we wouldn't be too bad if we could send him to Burnley on loan under Vinny and say, look, he's lost his way a bit here, but get him on loan, promise us X amount of game time, and see, that'd work well for us because he's going to play the City way under Vinny, and you keep an eye on him. You know what I mean? I think the biggest problem with Man City over the years with sending the youngsters out on loan is coming back with bad habits. It's like Phil Foden was training every day with David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero. He was looking at how these people live day to day, how they trained, how they ate, how they slept. And it kept him grounded. Where some players, they go out on loan, superstars, they come back a different person. They've been in a different dressing room. They've been under a different manager. They've been with different players who've got different attitudes, different egos, and sometimes they can come back thinking the grass is greener on the other side. But with Foden, the best thing for Man City was Phil Foden, because anyone in that academy now, they can look at the Phil Foden route and then can look at the Jadon Sancho route. And the Jadon Sancho route at the beginning looked brilliant. He was playing for England, playing for Dortmund, getting game time. And Phil Foden was on the bench at Man City and everyone said Sancho made the right decision. But fast forward 18 months down the line, Phil Foden's winning Premier Leagues. He's a superstar. He's in a winning team. And Jadon lost his way a little bit. So anyone in the academy now that's thinking of jumping ship for the grass is greener, they have to just have a look at Phil Foden for an example. And if you work hard and knuckle down and buy into the club, you can get to where Phil is. If you want that quick buck and think it's greener and jump ship, then go and do it. But there's always a risk in that.
Spencer, as a coach yourself, quarterfinals, would you, like some are saying, just go full strength, get the game won, and then bring on your less? I don't like saying less players. You're guaranteed not your first team, or would you rotate and take that opportunity? Because you won game from Wembley.
Yes, you are. I think I think going into every single game as a manager, you are always putting your best 11 on the park every game. I'm not thinking about giving fringe players game times and giving players minutes. I'm always going to play my best team every game. And whatever that looks like, whoever that's going to be, I think you always get them on the park. With the international break coming up, especially, it gives them a chance to just go strong and put a strong side out rather than giving players minutes that, with all due respect, might not feature. If you've got a player that you don't think's going to feature in the Champions League game against Bayern Munich, I'm not sure I'd be giving them minutes in an FA Cup game right now, just to keep them happy, just to keep that player happy. I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking about that Bayern game and the running in the rest of the Premier League, and making sure everybody's ready and can play. And I'm only going 16.
Why would you keep like a Kelvin Phillips, Laporte happy? Or is it just, sorry lads, we are where we are, we'll try again next season?
If they're not good, if they're not good enough and not ready to feature in his starting 11, I wouldn't be starting them. Honestly, I wouldn't be. But that's just me. But that's coaching at a different level, where if I put out my 13th, 14th best player, I'm likely to lose and might get sacked. Different scenario, right? They've probably got another 25 players that could all go and play against Burnley and probably do the job. So ultimately, it is a luxurious position to be in, where he can just rotate them. And I'm sure he might play a Calvin Phillips. He might stick him in. He might stick Laporte in to keep him happy and know that they can go and do a job. But if they're not likely to be starting in the game against Bayern, And really, you're looking at and going, well, I don't even know if I want to bring him on for the bench and stick Calvin Phillips on. Am I gonna do that? So, yeah, that's just management is very, very different. You're only ever one game away from getting sacked, mate.
Would anyone? I
don't think Pep is, Spen, to be fair.
No.
Ask the question of what I would do.
I'll be honest. Other than Ortega, I'd go strong as anything tomorrow. Get the game won and then bring on.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on what the goalkeeping
You're going down the
situation is?
sentimental road, though, Steve. You're going down the.
Look, with all the emotion that will be flying around tomorrow, lots of emotion. You need your top soldiers out there to get the job done at the start.
I've got a feeling Haaland ain't playing me because Pep's bonkers, and I think Alvarez will play. I'm telling you, I can see it. You know, even the other night when he took him off there, I know he scored 5, but I was fuming, man. Everything the guy touched was going in. He was a monster.
Well,
You're a hard man to please, Steve.
10 minutes later, Steve.
I've got a feeling plan because he's bonkers.
Yeah.
What would you go to? If he's pulled an hammy 10 minutes later, you're going.
I know, I get that in an idea. You know, when you're a fan and you're enjoying it so much, and I'm thinking, this monster here is destroying these. I love it to see. And then it takes him off. And then they're on about the record and that. And then the best answer Pep came out with, he says, if he breaks the record now, what else would he have to dream about? And I thought, you know what? That's brilliant, That is brilliant.
I loved it.
He's right, man. It was crazy. But I can just see Riyad coming in, because I expect Riyad to play in the Champions League. He didn't. We look at the team he put out against Bristol. You know, he did make some changes against Bristol. But like you say, Pep's just Pep, innit? We haven't got a clue. Ortega's going to come in, I think, for Edison. I think you were going to touch on the goalkeeping situation now. But yeah, I can't see much other than that, really.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I mean, Ortega will probably start, I guess, at the weekend. But longer term, I'd read a lot of speculation that this young kid James Trafford, who's out on loan at the moment, is going to come back as the number 2. And I think Edison has probably divided opinion a little bit this season. So, what do you reckon to the longer term future? Is he still the top keeper? Is he the keeper we need going forward? I think I'm a big fan of Edison, and you only have to look at what he's done, and you know, when the way he plays with the ball out from the back, he suits Pep. You know, and there's a lot. I know there's a lot of Twitter fans out there who are probably a bit younger, and every time City drop points or something, they go mad at Edison and that. But I think it's good for at times, doesn't he?
He does 100%. But I do think that Ortega is putting pressure on him. I do think Ortega coming in having some really good cup performances, especially against Arsenal and stuff. And Ortega looks like, I know he dropped a clanger against Southampton, but in the cup. But I think Edison probably does need somebody putting a bit of fire on him to bring the pressure. And if Ortega comes in, trains harder, works harder, and finally gets ahead of Edison, then I'm not going to complain about that, because that's competition and he probably deserves it. But for me, Edison now is in a league of his own. You know, we all know he's not the best shot stopper in the world. We know he's not the best at typical goalkeeping things in the world. But at what we need as Manchester City, with his ball playing, dinking it over the press, you know, being calm under pressure and getting us out of situations, I think there's nobody better for us than that. But time will tell.
Pat, the reason I'm asking about this is because Burnley have lost, 2 games all season? They're coming brimming full of confidence. If we go down, we weaken down too much, we may come out on the other end unlucky. That's what I'm bothered about here. This is Burnley who are flying and playing good football.
It's going to be I think it's going to be a tough game, a real tough game, because Vinny will have them fired up. They're playing well, they're confident. We can't make 7 or 8 changes. It'll make a few, but not that many, I don't think.
Vinny will be wanting us to play for as close to full strength as possible. He'll want to be tested. going back to what I said before, it's like this is his first real test. This is basically the first chance he has of a 90 minutes where he's going to get an experience of what it's going to be like managing the Premier League. And I think he'll want to go against the best, and he'll want to play against the best players that we have available. The international break helps us. The big question is Haaland. I just don't know if Haaland will start. I'd like him to.
No,
I think Vinny would like him to, but I think Vinny personally will be hoping that he plays against our best team. Maybe not, not like the first 11, but like an A minus, team.
Basically. He wants him out. Trust me. Please play the best striker in the league against them. Please. So when they get the team sheets, and he'll look at it, and if he sees 6 or 7 changes, that's another motivator for the Burnley players. That's another motivator. Have a look at this. Look, this is how they think they can turn you over. And that's a motivator. Trust me.
Spencer, I wanted to ask you a question. As a former central defender and one of some repute, I might add as well, how would you prepare to play against a player like Haaland? Would you look at doing something a little bit different, or do you just play your normal game? Do you try to reorganize things a little bit defensively? What would be your plan if you were to come up against Haaland as a defender?
Great question.
Yeah.
Apart from Prey.
Well, I've been whoever it was playing against, like at the time, whether it was a Bergkamp or Ian Wright or Cantona or those guys at that time in that era, the only thing I could do the best that I could do for myself and not stress too much, because sometimes some players are just better than you and they have a better day than you, and not get too stressed about it the night before and losing sleep, because as long as you've prepared the best that you can do, sometimes they're going to get the better of you, and you have to accept that. Football wise and setting up, deep low block, 5 at the back, park the bus and hope the people in front of you stop the service into them. That's what the hope. Like, literally, because you wouldn't want to get in a foot race with him. I don't think you'd want to get in a fight with him. And you just have to try and hope that the service in front is nullified that comes into him.
And don't give a penalty away at the last minute like he did at Stamford Bridge.
Who was the Haaland of your day, Spanner, that you played against? Who's the most difficult centre forward that you had to try and keep tabs on?
It was someone that was a much lighter build, but Dennis Bergkamp was insanely
Rolls Royce,
insanely strong. And always got himself into really, really good positions where he was able to receive it facing forward, always getting off your shoulder. And Haaland's doing that a lot, right? So even though I just talked about trying to set up a deep block, we look at the number of goals that Haaland's scoring in the 6-yard box. They're not all. It's such a mix. This guy is the complete player. Genuinely is. So if you play a high line, he's got the pace to hurt you down the sides and get in behind, and the strength to go through one-on-one. Where the other side is, he's a Tony Cottee poacher in the 6-yard box. He's got that side of him as well, right? And that just makes him the complete player. Dead set, complete player. And he doesn't. I think the only time we do see the occasions where he gets frustrated when teams set deep blocks and Man City will just go around and wait for the right opening to go in. You can occasionally see frustration in him. That's going to be the thing going into the Champions League game, because there could be long spells where the ball doesn't go into him, where they're trying to maintain control possession. And that's going to be his next challenge and thing to see how he stays really engaged in a game where the service isn't coming and where he's not involved.
Can I just say, Steve, you have to shoot, don't you, mate? Go over to the Big Six. Big
Lads,
thank you
it's been a
all over
pleasure.
the Big Steve channel. I'm sure you're all subscribers anyway. Go and give Big Steve a lot of love. Thank you, mate.
See you later, fellas. Nice to see you, Spence. See you guys. Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Steve. Take care, mate.
See you, boys.
I mean, Vader, what would you do tomorrow?
I wish I was getting Pep's paycheck to answer this question.
What a Spencer.
I can see Pep not making many changes defensively in the midfield. I can see us being true to us defensively, the back four, as well as the midfield. If it's going to be Rodri, Silva, KDB, or however you want to do that, I do see him making those changes up front. I can see him having Alvarez instead of Haaland. I can see him having Mahrez instead of what was actually Silva this last game. But I can see that being the case in whether it's Foden, whether it's Grealish, who knows? But I can see, and obviously Ortega. I can see those changes being pretty anticipated. But I think to many of your points with regards to showing respect, with regards to respecting our opposition and what Vincent and his team has been able to do, I think Pep keeps a true defensive and midfield to deal with that and not give them any motivation to be like, to what Spencer mentioned, hey, you see this lineup that they put in front of you guys? Let's go out and get them. Because I think many of us can almost already hear Kompany's pre-match speech. Listen, guys, look at how we're dominating where we are right now. We're going to be promoted next season. This is the level of quality you're going to be facing if you want to be amongst the best next year. Go out, put in that effort. I hate the term free hit, but it's us against the quality that you've seen for so many years. You've all dreamt of playing against a Pep and Manchester City. You can see the goosebumps and the players being fired up. So I think Pep's going to make sure that he has a really good squad with a few changes, and we can afford to have those changes in attack, I think.
No, Vader, you know what he's going to say to the players? He's going to say, guys, I'm not a fan of that statue. I didn't like the architecture behind it. I want you to go out there, put a performance in, so they have to throw that thing in the earth for the old medlock, and then we can actually get a proper bronze statue in out the front of the Etihad and that, and then at least my memory and my legacy at City in a physical form will be a lot more pleasing to the eye.
I hear that.
To me, like we've all said it, there's an international break. It's not like we need to rest down now for the next. And I know it's
hammer and tongs, mate. Hammer and tongs. Yeah,
I feel for Palmer. I feel for a Phillips. The problem is this isn't the stage of the season to start doing it in.
Mm-hmm.
They've had August to March to start doing this shenanigans. We're now at the business end. This isn't the time to start rotating around and being sentimental. Oh, you've not had a lot. Come in and play. Sorry, you've had 8 months. Sorry, I'm at the point where this is the big boy time. Put your big boy pants on and go for it. Sentiment has to go out the window because, like Spencer said, and he's spot on. If you put that week in that team down, Kompany just goes, that's what they think here, lads. They think they're going to railroad. They think they can railroad you with the second lot.
Yeah, but I don't think it's sentiment. I don't think it's sentiment with why he would have some rotation. I think it's, I mean, there is squad harmony that he still needs to manage. It's not, he would never manage a team like.
Why play a Cole Palmer when you're never going to play him the rest of the season? Just to get him on a pitch. He's never going to play again. Laporte, I can get because you may need him. But if you start bringing in a Cole Palmer, a Perone, what for? That's just you're throwing him on to throw him in.
But at the same time, Pep might be looking at them defensively and saying, you know what, I can see Cole Palmer putting in a shift against that defensive line, and we can afford him being there, as opposed to overpowering that defender with a Mahrez or a Foden. Like thinking
You
that
play Cole Palmer over Mahrez tomorrow, there'll be civil war in that dressing room with Mahrez.
No.
Give him Mahrez. Give him Mahrez.
I gave you my
Give it-
11 beforehand. I'm just throwing out a possibility.
Mahrez hasn't played 4 games. Can you imagine if Cole Palmer goes before him tomorrow? Mahrez will be like, right, I want a word now.
Yeah.
You
And
stick
Mahrez-
it in before me.
Yeah, and Mahrez, Burnley is Mahrez's whipping boy as well too. He scores a lot of goals against Burnley.
Do
I
that.
think
I have got
if
to read this.
Mahrez.
One sec, mate. I have got to read this because we've had a super chat, even though I don't want to read it. But thank you so much for the money, Zane. Arsenal winning the league. Come on, you Gunners. I've read it. He's paid the money. Thank you for the fiver, mate. But you're not City winning the league. But carry on, Spence. Mate.
Yeah, if you play Palmer over Mahrez, right? And Mahrez goes back on his international break. He's got 2 weeks chewing on it. He is going to be the grumpiest man in the world, and you're going to lose him coming in the next game against after the international break. So don't be doing it.
Spencer, that's the key, isn't it? I mean, the bonus for Pep for this game, if there were back-to-back games coming up in the Champions League and a big Premier League game, but he's got a 2-week break because of the internationals. So I don't think he'll make too many changes. He might make 1 or 2. I think Ortega will probably start, maybe 1 or 2 others, but he doesn't need to because there's a break on the other side of the game, so they can afford to go pretty much, the best 11 that he wants to put out because they've got time to recover.
Just going to check on that.
I think
Quick question for Simon and everybody. I'll pass it around the table. Does anybody have a little bit of a concern that maybe the international break might be a little bit of a momentum killer, given that we're starting to we're starting to hit our straps a little bit?
Can be.
I think it's the stupidest thing to do considering we just had a bloody World Cup. Let's have another international break. Yeah, that makes loads of sense.
I mean, it can happen. It can happen, but I don't know. I think they'll be all right. I mean, providing they don't lose tomorrow. I'll tell you what, they'll really be stewing. If they lose against Burnley, then that'll be a long international break.
Oh, yeah.
But see, I'm just looking now. Rodri went off on 60 minutes against Leipzig. Gundogan went off on 55. Haaland went off after an hour. And Grealish went off after 55 minutes. So they've kind of had the rest. They've not gone up and played 90 minutes or anywhere near it on Tuesday night.
Well, Erling Haaland had a rest for a month during the World Cup.
There you go.
I personally think the keepers are definite. He will definitely come in. Ortega. I think that Mahrez and Foden, who didn't really get picked on midweek, will definitely play. And he'll rotate the players out for that as well. But Haaland, I think Alvarez will play instead of Haaland, and that'll be it. That'll be the only changes. So he'll have a lads that rotated out, i.e. Bernardo and Grealish will sit on the bench and they'll come on if they're needed. If we're losing 1-0, you'll see a lot of movement.
Vator has to go. If you are not a subscriber to Better Games TV, go and give him a lot of love. He does a great show. His last show was amazing because I was on it. But go and give Better Games TV a lot of love.
Talk yourself out.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys. Pleasure meeting all of you, and I'll stay tuned in and catch the rest of the show.
Take care, mate.
See you, Vader. Good to see you, mate.
Right, Spencer, have you got to go as well, mate?
Yeah. Saturday morning, got to do my house jobs.
Are your house jobs?
His missus has had a word.
Yeah. Lovely being on, boys. Really good to see you
all. Hope you come back on, mate. You know you're always welcome.
Thanks, mate. All right.
I've forgiven you for all them goals.
Thank you.
Take care, mate. Thank you.
See ya.
Guys, I'm going to have to drop out as well. I've got to go and walk the dog.
Don't call Alan that.
Where's your shot collar?
I'm looking for an MCFC dog collar. Actually, I had one for my former dog, but I can't find
Before
one.
You go,
do you want me to check out? Do you want me to check out the store tomorrow, Simon? I can have a look if you want.
If you're there, that'd be good.
Yeah.
If you get someone paying for it.
Charlie had a question. I'm going to read it out. Charlie said he's a very big fan of your media work. One of the reasons I've got into football media and studying and degrading.
Oh, good on you, Charlie. Thanks, mate. Good stuff. Keep
There you
at
go.
it. It's a tough profession, particularly these days.
Get
But good on you,
his
mate.
book. Get his book. Very good read as well. The voice.
I looked a bit better in that photo than I do now.
There you go.
Are we going to win tomorrow, Simon?
Yeah, we'll win tomorrow. I think we'll be all right.
How many trophies are we winning before you go?
Oh God.
On the spot.
Look, I'll settle for 2 this season: FA Cup and Champions League.
I love the way
I
you
just think
settle.
I think Arsenal have just been so consistent this season, and we want the Champions League, don't we? So I'd settle for that in the FA Cup this year. Not being too greedy.
Hey, Simon, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier being at Tuesday at 3 a.m. than being on, but this lot, isn't it? At least they're not putting you on the spot with terrible questions.
What's the book called, and is it available on Amazon?
It's
called
Just a Gob on a Stick. Just a Gob on a Stick. It's available in all good bargain buckets for about $1. That's true. Yeah. You can get it online as well. You can get it online.
You can get it online on Amazon. So again, it's a good read, actually. I had a read of that.
Thanks, Alan. Good lads.
Cheers, Simon.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers. Come on, City.
Good to see you, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Are you all right for another 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, we're right.
Yeah.
Leon, you're a superstar. Thank you. Brilliant show tonight, fella. Spencer, it was a pleasure watching you, mate. Don't listen to this like you would have pocketed Ireland. Didn't pocket bloody Bergkamp, did he? Hold on, Rick. Everyone's just said, yeah, you loved the show because I was on it.
Good. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. I really do. I think they'll be up for it. They're playing well, which I'm pleased about. To be fair, and at the end of the day, because Vinny's there, we all take an interest in how he's doing, which is good. But long as we win tomorrow, I don't think I could handle it if we get beat. But there we go.
I just look at it, and that's why I wanted to check. I wanted to look at all the minutes that everyone had played. And we got into a situation on Tuesday we all dream of. Get the game won.
Yeah.
Early doors. Get everybody off. They all got about 30, 35-minute rest. And to me, if you go out tomorrow and you start throwing in Gomez, Peroni,
I don't think he will, mate. I don't think he will.
Everything else. I think you are majorly disrespecting Burnley. I do think you are. I think you're taking the piss. I mean, someone made a great point earlier. Burnley, it'll be very weird for them tomorrow because they don't normally play football and they don't normally have to sit chasing a football. They're the ones normally with the ball. They're going to experience, because I think Kompany looks at tomorrow as a barometer. Kompany will want some of the big boys out because Kompany's like, I want to. He's what, 2 wins away from the Premier League. He knows he's going up. They've just got a record 15,000 season ticket sales. So big up to the Burnley fans. But if they go into this, Vinny Kompany's going to want to go to his owners and go, right, do I do what some have done and give my squad a chance in the Premier League? And I'll go till January. He needs to know now whether some of his players can play with the big boys in the Premier League. Because if he ain't capable, he's going to need to buy new players in the summer. I know that's awful to say, but do you remember when we came up in 2000, 2001, and we played this, no offence, but we thought we could go with our team that got us up?
Well, Spencer will tell you that, didn't he? Because he played in both those teams. Yeah.
And we ended up having to bring in Egilostinstad to try and get us out the shit. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but Egilostinstad was a desperation signing because we tried to do the sentimental role. And I don't mean that in any disrespect to Spence or to anybody else. I'm just mean that time that squad was not ready for the Premier League. Because like Spence said before, and you know this, Alan, it was a season too soon.
It was. And we were on momentum from the Gillingham game. We went up that halfway through that season. We went up to the playoff. and we were meant, and it continued the year after, and it did continue, and we probably went up a year too soon, because if you remember when we were down in the third tier, we we had financial problems big time, and the club financially wasn't ready for going up. It wasn't. What kick-started it, I suppose, is the recoming of Man City when they went up the year after. When we got Kevin Keegan and got promoted, Keegan started the momentum without any shadow of a doubt. Keegan started it. And
I'll have you a bet now. He mentions Roberto.
And then, obviously, when to turn to win trophies, then you've got Sir Roberto.
Yeah, Pellegrini won. Pellegrini won more trophies than Mancini. Just to let you know.
Oh, listen, he taught us how to win again, and let's be honest, he did win trophies again. He changed the mentality of the club, and he did.
Yeah, I think the 300 million helped as well, Alan.
Yeah, I know that, but he did help with Roberto. Sir Roberto.
Sir Roberto, do as I say.
It worked. It worked.
No, it didn't. He got sacked for it.
Well, it gave us
it didn't really work, did it? It worked for a year.
There we go.
No, I do love Roberto, but sadly it went a bit sour at the end. Sadly.
I know.
Pep does tend to respect all competition. We'll start with you, Pat. Because I don't want to take up all your Friday nights or Saturday morning. Friday night, it is Friday night for Pat. Sorry, it is Friday night for Pat. Saturday morning for you. Pat's gone back in time. He's done a Back to the Future.
You in hotel in Manchester now? You got there now?
Yeah. I'm in my hotel room right now.
What time's she booked for?
What?
What time is it she booked in for?
Well, how we go for time now? Actually, I've kind of lost time. But I gotta keep that one in mind, because there'll be more. There'll be a second one later on.
Second one, you've got a big appetite.
Oh, dear.
No, I mean, honestly, Pat, how do you see tomorrow?
I see tomorrow, well, from a fan's perspective, I see it being a fun, open, almost testimonial style sort of vibe and atmosphere amongst the fans. But on the pitch, I think we're going to see a good, competitive, solid game between two clubs that are pretty much at the top of their league. And look, how Burnley are going to play, given what you said with the fact that they're dominating possession in the championship. That will be interesting. But I think overall, I just think we might see a good little game here. We might see a few goals, and hopefully Pep and Vinny have put players out there that actually make it entertaining.
I've just checked something. You know what I love so much when people do that results? We suddenly went up to 1,300. Someone noticed, and then we dropped down to 1,299 again. So someone likes to play games. It's always fun. Anyway, Alan, where do you see tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a tight game. I think they're going to give everything first 20, 25 minutes. I think they'll and if we score within that period, their heads will drop. But I think it'll be a 2-0 or a 2-1 or a 3-1 type result tomorrow. I don't think it'll be a battering. I really don't think that'll be the case. And I hope Vinny gets a good standing ovation. But as soon as the whistle starts and the game starts, our mentality's got to be spot on. It's got to be switched on. Forget all that. The fans
Alan, I'm just happy to be here, and I think the atmosphere is going to be fantastic as well.
Yeah.
The reception for Vinny, the welcome back for Vinny, and the fact that the fans have got their tails up after the performance against Leipzig.
Yeah, absolutely.
All around, it's just going to be a good day out.
Well, is it going to be a typical City when they've had a massive result midweek and then they go and do?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you've got all that way as well to watch the game. But you're flown in today.
Pat, where you sitting tomorrow?
Colin Bell stand. I think we're in section 324, which is sort of like, I think it's like Colin Bell sort of overlooking you.
Text me before the game.
We'll do, mate.
Yeah. yeah, that concludes this evening. I think City will go through tomorrow, and we'll be going to Wembley.
Wembley.
Well,
I'll be going to Wembley. These two.
You're not going away from home because every time you go away, we lose. You're staying at home watching on telly.
Big Steve said I can go to, if we beat Bayern, I can go to Madrid with him.
Oh God, no! That means we're going to get battered. There we go.
If we beat Bayern, and go to Madrid, I'm going to go over to Madrid myself.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, Pat in his second home from home, because he is an honorary Manc.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
You can catch Pat at some point. They have got a great back. They've got a great back catalogue of the Early Bird podcast that you can grab hold on. Apple.
Danny Barrett, if you're listening, mate,
Spotify.
please, we've got to get him on the bloody microphone again because he controls all our audio. Yeah.
No,
we need to get another show going soon.
Danny and the others are involved. They're just very, very busy with work. They will get new content out at some point, and I'm sure me or Rich will be on again to chat about it.
We have to, mate. You're the algorithm because you two don't stop bickering, and Rich just does a hit and run every episode.
You're gonna have to do like a 9-hour show to catch up on everything.
Yeah, we're gonna do one of those 12-hour shows for a charity that like 9320 Pod and all that too. You know, where they just do a 12-hour stream for charity and that. We have to do one, but I'm thinking about 2.5 hours in, it's just going to be complete waffle, and we're probably talking about like, oh, what's your favorite packet of crisps or something, you know?
Who is Matt? I don't know. I was wondering if Matt was there, but I just didn't guess. Anyway, Alan, thank you for joining us, mate.
No problem. Have a good trip, Pat. Enjoy yourself, mate.
Thanks, Alan. We'll do.
Pat is a proper blue over there watching the games, while someone will be sat there with his remote control tomorrow again.
I will be, but don't worry. I'll be over at the end of the season.
Fresh air over armchair, Alan. Fresh air over armchair.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry. I'll be over in May.
We will be back tomorrow, probably around about. It's another late one, so we're probably looking about 10:30. We'll get on for the post match for Burnley. I don't know who's going to be on because I don't know who's available. Any of you two want to come on for the post match?
I don't think I'll be in any state.
I'll come on. I want to get back. Text
Alan,
me when you're on the way off.
one favour tomorrow.
What's that?
Do not WhatsApp me any negative crap during the game.
Mate, it wouldn't be a match day if I don't do it to wind you up. You know that.
Manchester City, the legend comes home, but he will be going home crying. We'll give him a lovely reception, but hopefully he will go home crying. And we can get back to love him. But for 90 minutes tomorrow, we have to beat Burnley. We go to Wembley. We beat Bayern Munich. We then go on to Madrid or Chelsea. And then we're going to Istanbul. Arsenal, don't you worry. We're about to hunt you down. And 3 is the magic number because 3 trophies are what I believe Manchester City will get at the end of this season. The treble is on.
Hashtag believe.
He's just put the curse on that. You know that, don't you?
Don't care. Light show tomorrow? Yes, there will be.
Yeah.
It's a light show. Oh, Marty, can you film it? Because I know
Film
you.
the last one. It's on my Twitter page.
Oh, I'll have a look after then. I'll have a look.
Give over Blue Hearts, not blowing it at all. Dudley, thank you. Love Dudley. He just lurks in the background, but he's such an amazing supporter of the channel. Thank you, Dudley. You ever want to just come in, pipe up, Dudley, grab a question? Big thank you to Spencer Pryor, former Manchester City centre-back, for coming on tonight. Simon Hill, Manchester City and footballing, Manchester City fan, footballing commentator, analysis man. Alan's going to show his book again.
And journalist.
Job on a stick if anyone wants to get that. And journalist. And Big Steve, the legend that is Big Steve, who's currently over on the Big Six. Go over there and watch the Big Six as well. I hated that kit. Do you know why I hate it? Because they wore it when I was in bloody Ipswich and we got beaten, relegated in it, and it made me sick.
I reminded me we played Burnley because we played against them when
we beat them 6, but we got relegated in that kit, and it's sickening. Got relegated at Portman Road.
When do you think we'll get over that, Martin? Because that's about 22 years ago now.
I'm never getting over it. Every relegation hurts. The Stoke one hurt the most.
Yes, I was there at the Stoke one.
5-2 and still gets relegated.
Yeah, I was there.
You know what?
That
day broke my heart twice. It was the last time I ever saw City. It was the first time I'd seen City get relegated down to Division 2. And number 2, it was the last ever game of a certain Georgian maestro. And he threw his boots, his shorts, his kit, everything went in the crowd. And I cried when he went because I knew that was the end.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Mr. Joe Royal and Mr. Bernstein turned that club around. Well, we can never forget that.
Take care. See you on the next one.
See you later.
Hit that subscribe, smash the likes, share it around, tell your friends, your family, your foes. Get over to the Mancunian Way and all the Manchester City channels. Go on, Pat. You're going to say something. And
of course, if anybody's at Mary D's tomorrow, I'll be there from after lunch. So I look forward to having a pint and a good old chin wag.
There you go.
And
if anyone wants to see Alan tomorrow, you can't because he'll be in his living room.
More than you will know.
Anyway, me and Pat will see you at the ground. Alan will see you at his house over in like 5,000 miles away.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'll speak to you in May. See you, man.
Take care. And we'll see you soon. See you tomorrow night.
Enjoy yourself, Pat.
Thanks, mate.
Let's get to Wembley. See you later.
Hey, mate.
Alan just leaves just while we're still live.
Yeah, hit and run.
Bye.
Bye.